everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R chat for Sunday, January 25th, 2026. Okay, wait a minute. Let me make sure I got this correct. So, Mariah is gonna kidnap little Dominic, and Victor is gonna kidnap 3 grown adults. I'm sensing a pattern here. Okay. How did we go from Mariah taking some time away from her own family because she thought she murdered a man, to now, all this time, she has also apparently been plotting the kidnapping of a kid who she has had no interaction with for the past 4 years? She has her own child now. If she was going to kidnap anybody, wouldn't it be Aria? It is almost like Y&R suddenly realized that the Pillow Man almost murder wasn't really working out, but they still needed to buy some more time to keep Mariah's character doing something. And then they remembered that like 4 years ago, everyone was speculating that Mariah was gonna kidnap Dom. Oh yeah, let's go with that. We'll just go with that. It'll be fine. And the ultimate irony of all this, Ian kidnapped Mariah and put her into his cult when she was a baby, and now she is going to kidnap Dom and put him into Ian's cult from beyond the grave? I guess the implication is that since Mariah carried Dom in her tummy, then she is more connected to him than to Aria, who she has basically abandoned. Great. Just great. I mean, Mariah and Dom are so alike, though. They write exactly the same bubble letters. I can just see the similarities there. You know, if Mariah had suddenly found out about Tessa and Daniel's relationship, or even if Mariah had just gotten the divorce papers, or if Mariah had gotten the custody papers and then freaked out and kidnapped Aria, then that would have made sense. That would have given Tessa and Daniel something to fight against, something to bond over. But instead, it just feels like this random connection from the past, brought back up for no good reason, not really connecting to anything we've been going through for the past months. We've been waiting months and months for Mariah's story to go somewhere. And I am losing faith that this new development will go anywhere either. But on the plus side, I did really enjoy the flashback of Mariah giving birth to Dom with Devon looking down at the obviously empty blanket and saying, "Hey, little man." Sally trying to call Billy's mommy is so yucky. It's just so yucky. Oh, I know she said she was going to call Jill to ask about hiring Audra, but we all know that she was really wanting to call Jill so that she could tattle on Billy, so that she could do anything she can to stop him from partnering with Cane instead of partnering with her. That's what Sally feels, that Billy is choosing Cane over her, and she doesn't like it. She has exhausted all of her own resources. She literally cannot talk at him any more than she already has. So after months of saying that she was going to hire Audra, now when she's at her wit's end with Billy, now suddenly she's got to call Jill to see if she can hire Audra to work at the company that she is in charge of, where she is in charge of the hiring decisions, and she already has said that. But guess what? Jill did not answer the phone. Apparently, in next week's preview, Sally is saying that Snapper answered the phone instead, and he told Sally that Jill is not doing well. And oh boy, doesn't that just give her a new card to play with Billy? Your mom could die. Do you really want to be partnering up with Cane, involved in this big takeover mess while your mother is on her deathbed? Blah. I can just already hear it. And you know what? Sally's constant nagging of Billy has had the effect of making me want to root for Billy. I can't believe it. It's just that by pushing so hard, all Sally has done is push him toward Cane. And Billy did accept Cane's deal this week, and that made me realize this week that, hang on, you know what? I actually want Billy to have Chancellor. Not that I think he deserves it any more than anyone else does, but you know what? He wants it, and he would probably do a good job with it if he didn't run it into the ground. Plus, and here's the sticky part for me. When Catherine died, she left that company not to Jill, but to Victor, which always bothered me. Victor got the company, and Jill got a music box stuffed with treasure, of course. But I feel like Chancellor should have gone to Jill. Isn't that what Philip would have wanted? And they had resolved their issues mostly by the end. That would have been the ultimate gesture for Catherine to have given Jill Philip's company. It's for sure what Jill wanted, because Jill convinced Victor to sell it to her after Catherine left it to him. And Jill then owned it for years, but then it was kind of on a whim that she sold it back to him. And then within a year or two, it's now in danger, crumbling due to Victor's negligence. What's happening to Newman Enterprises and Chancellor is Victor's fault. It's his fault. He let Phyllis install the program on Newman's servers? Did I hear that right this week? Are you kidding me? He let Phyllis install it on Newman's servers? He let the fox in the hen house? And now he's mad at the fox for eating the hens? I mean, I'm sorry, but Victor has totally mismanaged this whole situation. And in another timeline, the Newman family would be whispering behind his back, saying he's lost it. The old man's lost it. Adam would be working with one of his lawyer friends to try to be getting Victor declared incompetent, and he would have grounds. But instead, the Newman family is just calmly sitting around, rallying behind Victor, while everything they've all worked for is crumbling away. It is not just Victor's company. It's Nikki's company too. And Adam's, and Nick's, and Victoria's, and all of their children too. Victoria had the bright idea to alert the authorities about all of this, which, I mean, I don't know how this will play out in fantasy world, but in reality world, that would launch like a full-scale investigation that would absolutely land Victor into way more trouble than he's in right now. It is probably not illegal to develop that software. Maybe it's not even illegal to install it. I don't know. But I bet you that using the software to commit theft is definitely illegal. And there are two people who have done that. Victor and Cane. Victoria stopped by the train car this week to let Cane know that not only has she contacted the authorities, but she also contacted Lily and Maddie and Charlie, and she let them know what he was up to, which I'm sure he already would have counted on. He probably counted and discounted it, honestly. I mean, they have all already disowned him. He can go no lower in their opinion. But, you know, who does still have something to lose? Phyllis. Phyllis has got a couple of somethings to lose. There's Summer, there's Daniel, and there's her position in Cane's company, right? I don't think that Phyllis is as stable as she thinks she is. And yet again, we're right back to Cane reminding her of that already. We are just a week or two into their new partnership, and we are already gone right back to where we were. I mean, Cane said, the only person whose opinion really matters here is mine. Phyllis has a problem with him offering Chancellor to Billy. She can't be happy with a large slice of the pie. She wants the whole pie, even though she has no, I mean, it's not any of her money involved. None of her personal money has exchanged at all. But Phyllis and Cane argued about that, and Cane was sure to remind her that he's the one that has the ultimate say. And it feels to me like we're right back to where we were in Nice and immediately after, where Phyllis was constantly begging Cane to give her some crumbs of power. And then she gets a couple crumbs of power. She thinks she has some power, and then Cane yanks it right back away from her on a string. I don't like this scenario for Phyllis. I don't think it works out for her very well. I did enjoy Phyllis taunting Victoria, though, this week. Chasing her out of the office to let her know that she didn't want to be a Newman anyway. She didn't want to have to sit through their Sunday dinners. So now we know the Newmans have a standing Sunday dinner. So what's that look like? A stuffy dinner around a table with everyone wearing formal wear? Yeah, no thanks. I'm kind of loving Chelsea this week. And I'm kind of loving the Adam and Chelsea togetherness. It's been nice. Nikki was very warm and welcoming toward Chelsea. Just like really kind of folding her right into the family. And I could really tell that that meant a lot to Chelsea. Chelsea is working very hard right now to try to negate all of this bad press, this whole mess. And I'm glad that Chelsea got some recognition for her efforts. She even had to pry Esther's eyes off of her computer screen. Did you guys catch that Esther likes to play online Scrabble? That's awesome. I love it. More Esther every week, please. Can't believe I'm saying that, but it's really working for me right now. But then Adam comes in and he was thanking Chelsea too, and I'm sure that Adam feels bad that Chelsea's whole career is being dragged into this mess too. But then again, it's like nobody in the Newman family seems too worried. They're not too worried. The Abbotts were worried. When they thought their company was in jeopardy, they were all scrambling. You could feel it. They had John's legacy to protect. Jack was turned all the way up to 11. When he thought that there was any chance that he could lose it, Diane was right there defending him. Kyle was jumping in, and I felt it. I felt the emotion of it. I felt the danger of it. And now that it's over, I feel the relief. I feel their relief that the target is off their backs and Jabot can resume business as usual. But the Newman reaction is all very subdued somehow. I don't know, do you guys feel that way? It just feels like the Newmans don't really believe that it matters. And so that makes me not really believe that it matters. Adam said they're working, the IT team's working on a way to hide some assets, and Victoria shuffled some assets, and yeah, but this is still horrible for the family, and I don't feel it. Victor had a bigger reaction to walking in and finding Jack hugging Nikki than he did to finding out that Newman Enterprises was under attack. Get your hands off my wife. Okay. To be fair, a lot of guys would have that reaction. A man walks into his home and finds his rival hugging his wife. It is not unreasonable that Victor might be mad about that. And it is also not unreasonable that Nikki might have stopped it, you know? I mean, in all of this chaos, it seems like Nikki and Jack have grown closer. Like, that's what the main effect of all of this has been. Nikki is always defending Jack to Victor, to Victoria this week, defending Jack all over the place. And Jack is always defending Nikki all over the place. To Billy, to Diane. Dare I hope that a little love triangle is developing here? Oh my gosh, did you get a look at the shoulder muscles on 90s Victor Newman? Oh. See, that Victor and Nick boxing flashback, that was from around 1995, and so that would have made me like 15 years old when I saw it. And at 15 years old, Victor Newman was already old to me. So I could not appreciate the shoulder muscles on the level that I'm able to appreciate them now, you know? Victor was attractive. That's all I'm saying. Come on, somebody help me out this week. Victor looked good there. But let me tell you what I think does not look good. Okay, I enjoyed the Matt Clark trial by fire. I enjoyed the boxing flashback, although I wish Y&R would stop putting the flashbacks in black and white. That bothers me. I want to see the color version. And also, I enjoyed 84-year-old Victor still punching that heavy bag. Hell yeah. But I did not enjoy him then walking into that closet where he had Matt Clark cornered like a rat. It felt brutal, brutish, unfair. And I know Matt is a bad guy, but I don't like the idea of Victor using him like he was his own private punching bag. There's just something so predatory about that. Like, it was so non-consensual. A non-consensual fight. I'm sorry, it was a real turn-off for me. I felt bad for Matt because, I mean, nobody deserves to get abused. I mean, even the worst of the worst villains should get actual justice, not abuse. Did anybody else feel that way? Maybe it's just me. Maybe Y&R did too good of a job in making me like Matt. And thinking back on it, I mean, like, all of Matt's real crimes, all of his real bad stuff happened in the past through different actors long time ago, decades ago. And then everything that's been implied about him this time around has really been mostly off screen. Okay, he kidnapped Sienna, but that does not move my needle. I mean, 90s Matt Clark was a real sick SOB. But 2026 Matt Clark has been kind of hilarious. Nick on drugs is not hilarious. Nick on drugs is like a totally different guy. You know, and that's how drugs work. Like, they change your personality. Did you did you hear that, everybody? Allie says drugs are bad. Dare to stay off of them. There's a bit of a leap here for me, though. I mean, okay, Nick got some really good drugs in the hospital. And then they gave him a prescription that he took way too quickly. I mean, he like emptied the bottle and then tossed it onto Sharon's table like it was a candy wrapper. But then he was eligible for a refill because Noah offered to get him one. And I don't know, maybe he went through that too. And there is just so much going on right now. I can see Nick not wanting to go back to the hospital. I can see him also not wanting to take the time to take care of himself. All of that actually makes a lot of sense. But then he is out on Sharon's porch this week, writhing in pain as he has been. He reaches into his pocket and he pulls out a baggie of new drugs. New drugs that look like Smarties, you know, those candies that are rolled up in a wrapper, the ones you loved as a kid, but then you taste them as an adult and realize they're like chalk. And then he pulls them out and looks at him like, how did these get here? And that is the question. How did that baggie of druggies get there? Well, the answer is Matt, right? But when and how? Okay, my theory is Matt planted them after the car crashed. Nick was out cold. Matt saw him there, had the drugs, planted them, and ran away. That's what I think. But however it happened, for Nick to even consider taking mystery drugs that he just found in his pocket is absurd to me. Especially if he can just go and get another prescription. I mean, does anyone really go from prescription drugs to random baggie that's clearly been planted on you? I don't know. I realize Nick is in a lot of pain, but he would have had to have suspected that Matt put them there. And that alone should have made Nick not want to take them. Now, I don't know if he did take them. And I also know that I'm using logic here to try to explain this, and addiction logic is different. So I don't know. But I did enjoy Nick snapping at Sienna this week because he was so angry and it was so out of character for him. Like, the Newmans are all worried about Matt and the AI and Newman Enterprises, but the truth is they should all be more worried, most worried about Nick. Sharon's trying to get him to go back to the hospital, and he needs to. And maybe there could be a blood test or something when he goes back so that the medical professionals can realize that he's got fentanyl or whatever in his system and start him on a treatment plan. I don't care about your baked goods. I know you're saying to me, Allie, the Who Said It quote is always about food. I think if Y&R can write constant storylines about kidnappings, then I can pick Who Said It quotes that are about food. But that's a funny line, you have to admit. I don't care about your baked goods. Maybe it's just funnier the way I say it. But that is, in fact, our quote for the week. And if you want to know who said it, you should go to yrchat.com. Oh my goodness, I have a special birthday shout out this week to Ellen. Yay! Legendary Ellen of YNR Chat is having a birthday this week. Let's see, your birthday will be in 2 days. So what is that, Tuesday? Ellen, I hope you have a very happy birthday. I hope you're not going to be snowed in for it. No, wait, I actually hope you are snowed in for it, because that's fine. Snowed in with YNR for a birthday. Oh, happy birthday, my friend. All right, let's read some of your comments. I love this from Diana, who says, I love that Sharon confronted Matt Clark in her slippers and PJs. I don't remember if I've ever seen Sharon wearing pajamas on the show, only nighties. It's a nice change on the show, as we definitely don't see this often. Oh, Diana, I love that you mentioned that. And yes, it's very snuggy for a snowy week. I was noticing that too. Sharon had on her nightgown or her nightwear and her robe. I love that whole scene took place at night. I mean, it wasn't like everyone was dressed up in formal wear. And for something about the fact that everyone was cozy definitely added to the uncanniness, the discomfort of the scene. It was like comfortable on the outside and then deeply disturbing on the inside. So thank you for mentioning that. Oh, T. Nicole says, so are we just to assume that Victor killed Matt Clark and that's it? We don't see Matt die? I mean, that is the question. What has happened to Matt Clark, actually? Is that just the end? I did go look and I saw that, I guess Roger Howarth is done with the show. I Googled that and it said, yes, he is done. So I guess that's it for now. Sue W. says, Victor killed Matt nor had him killed for whatever reason, but regardless, Victor will one day oh so graciously accept everyone's astonishment, nay admiration for his restraint. Then bonus points as he'll continue to paint himself as the wise, supreme being he knows he really is. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't know why, but I don't like it. Sherrod says Victor didn't kill Mitch. He made a deal with him. He set him free so that Mitch can go after the Abbotts. Oh, would he really? Would he? I mean, it was definitely left open-ended. I don't know. I don't know, but the idea of thinking that Victor Newman just straight up like murdered him and like had to dispose the body. No, thank you. No. But I do like your idea, Sherrod. I just wonder if Victor would really dare make a deal with the devil. Maybe, since the devil himself. T. Nicole says Victor at this point should just build his own prison and keep his enemies in there. Maybe that's what it is, T. Nicole. Maybe when he built the new ranch, he had a state-of-the-art new dungeon installed, and that's where Mitch is being held, for the time being anyway. Russell says Nick loves his pain pills so much he doesn't even need water anymore. Oh yeah, that's the real tell. If Nick is just swallowing the pain meds without any water, he is over the freaking edge. Brent says, in Monday's episode, let's credit Victor with a rare moment of self-awareness. He tells Nick, the biggest mistakes I've made because of my stubbornness. Also, 3 cheers for the Paramount app. I woke up this morning with Tuesday's episode waiting for me even though it hadn't been broadcast yet. Maybe it's a glitch, but I love it. I noticed that too, Brent, that somehow that the episodes were being posted early. It wasn't that early, though, as the week went on, but I was shocked to see it there when I went and checked a little early. So, yeah. Okay, well, where did Nick get the drugs? Steven says, if I remember correctly, Matt gave them to him in LA. Nick was supposed to swallow them and die. Burrow showed up, Matt escaped, Nick followed, and Annie took care of Burrow. That explains how both Annie and Burrow ended up free and alive in Genoa City. I thought, and Russell says too, Matt gave Nick a bag of them when they were looking for Noah so that he could use them as payment to as the junkie for info on Noah and Sienna. I guess they were in his jacket. Surely not his pants, since it's been many weeks since those scenes, which would have been many washes ago. Many pant washes ago. Well, I thought the drugs were given to Noah to save Sienna's life. And yeah, I thought Nick gave that baggie to the junkie in exchange for the info. So I don't think so. I think the drugs were recently planted. That my theory is, do you remember the scene at the lookout point with Matt and Annie? And she asked him how he was planning to get rid of the Newmans. And he held up the baggie and he said, this is how I'm going to deal with the Newmans. And then cut away, never saw another thing about that. So to me that says Matt must have had that on him and planted it on Nick when Nick was out cold after the car crash. That's my theory anyway. All right, new topic. Pick a side. I asked you last week, Phyllis and Cane or the Newmans. Overwhelmingly, 72% of you side with Phyllis and Cane. The YNR chatters are saying it is time for the Newman reign to end. Jamie says, for the life of me, I can't come up with a good reason why the powers that be are refusing to mention the Marco incident as Victor's #1 crime against Phyllis. Her hunger for vengeance against the mustache is completely justified, in my opinion, for that sin alone. Phyllis is my girl for life. Get 'em, Red. This is, I was wondering this too. Did we talk about this last week? It does seem like of all the things Phyllis would want revenge on the Newmans about, it would be that. I don't know if you remember, but during the Gina Tognoni version of Phyllis, she was really driven by that. It was mentioned over and over and over again. And it kind of has gotten dropped in the more recent years. I'm not sure why, but the fans certainly remember it. And I would imagine that Phyllis would certainly remember it, and it would be one of her #1 motivations. Robin says, I love the new come out swinging Chelsea. Yeah, and the Phyllis versus Chelsea scene was kind of nice. They both have different deliveries, but it was kind of fun to watch them snarking against each other. Russell says, next week, it's really telling when Chelsea jumps to the assumption that Victor wants to use Lily and the twins as leverage against Cane, that he might want to kidnap them. Why not? It's just a regular Tuesday to the Newmans. I think Chelsea totally jumped to that. He's going to use Chelsea, even if Adam said something like, okay, well, Victor's planning on using Lily and the twins to get at Cane or whatever. I don't know why kidnapping. It's just, maybe that's just the trigger, that's the pressure point that the show wants you to think about. Who knows? It could be a whole bait and switch. What if they did all of that just to make us think and assume that Mariah is going to kidnap Dom, mentioning the kidnapping, and then it never happens. But although I don't know, Abby and Devon are definitely freaking out in the previews next week. But it could all turn out to be a big nothing burger, to use one of Esther's terms. Oh my goodness. Brent says, don't Nikki and Victor share their locations with one another on their iPhones? Maybe Nikki should check to see where her husband is before she engages in a 5-minute long embrace with the man with whom she's having an emotional affair. Ooh, Brent. First of all, I can absolutely see that Victor would be tracking Nikki, but there is no way that Victor would allow Nikki to track him. But I also love that you're very explicitly laying down emotional affair. Yes. Russell says, Mama said a hug like that will get you pregnant. I love that, Russell. Yes. That hug was extended. It was less of a hug and more of an embrace. Classic soap opera embrace that gets walked in on. I'm sorry, that one never gets old. Never. Naomi says, I actually don't blame Victor for telling Jack to get his hands off of Nikki. Obviously, the hug was too close for too long, and considering their past, Jack could easily have texted a message of support, but I suspect he exploits his special interest in Nikki to further antagonize Victor. Nikki should wake up, keep her distance from Jack, and remove herself from being the token prize. You know, that's a really good point, Naomi, because I think Nikki's role in this should not be underestimated. Victor has a right to not want his wife embracing another man when he walks through his own front door. I'm sorry, period. And Nikki should be a little more sensitive to that, don't you think? I mean, Jack's her friend. I guess that's the argument. Jack's her friend. She should feel free to hug whoever she wants. But I mean, I don't know. Marriage is compromise. They need to work this out. They need to really they need to work out the boundary here. Go ahead and hug him, but don't do it in my living room. Do it in the hotel room where it belongs. Sharon W. says, I am not sure how much longer Diane will be able to put up with Jack telling her that he just met up with Nikki again and filled her in with what's going on with Chancellor and Jabot. His time spent at the Newman Ranch lately must be close to equaling his time spent at the Abbott Mansion. Ooh, yeah, no doubt. Ooh, and I love this from Stephen. Stephen says, when Jack and Billy discussed the turmoil at Chancellor, Jack's concern wasn't for his brother's sobriety or his judgment. His only concern was Nikki. Billy saw the hypocrisy immediately. He must have been rehearsing his reply ever since he was handed a cardboard box and told to pack his things, waiting for the moment Jack would inevitably choose a Newman over his brother. Jack, stop. You're worried about Nikki's delicate state? Jill took my hopes and dreams and set them on fire, and she did it because your good friends, Victor and Nikki, handed her the torch. Ooh, that is a fun comment, Stephen. I love that. You are definitely right. Yeah, that he was really going to town to defending Nikki to his own brother. Oh, hey, you guys, the real star of this week's show, Sally's dress. Sue W. says, well, geez. Sally is certainly va-va-voom in her very unseasonable tiger print. Ugh, please leave animal prints to Jill. Halter dress, or is it a chintzy negligee? The flesh-colored sheerness running down each side gives a very sexy illusion of even more bare skin. Yowza, Miss Spectra. Well, not sure I mean all of this in a good way, or maybe I do, or maybe I don't. Wow. That dress was incredible. And I don't know if it's in a good way or a bad way, just in a memorable way. Just in a what are you wearing right now kind of way, in the middle of winter in Wisconsin, just hanging out in your living room in your laptop in your sexy dress. You're right, it was the nude panels running down the side with the shapeliness of it that really gave it that curvy factor. I mean, I'm hard pressed to say she looked bad. She didn't. I mean, her body's amazing. The dress fit well. It was just one of those visually popping things that it just draws attention. It's a comment magnet. Y&R knew exactly what they were doing with that one. Connie says, Amy always makes my day better. Audra and her beginning to make amends is the highlight of the day for me. My girl Audra is a complicated hot mess, but she is at her best when Amy is there to guide her, because Amy sees the hurt little girl as well as the conniving schemer. I loved the family unit that Nate, Audra, and Amy had formed, and it felt like a divorce when it ended. Today felt like a step into healing. I don't think Nate and Audra will reconcile, but I think they can make peace. I do think Amy and Audra will reconcile and rebuild their unique relationship. I am so comforted to know that Audra will have Amy's back to be a strict disciplinarian that will hold her feet to the fire in accountability and be there when she needs a soft place to land. Connie, I agree. First of all, Amy is just refreshing. And second of all, I think that Audra just needs someone like Amy in her life. Their dynamic is so real, so balanced, so relatable, and they are the perfect counterbalance for one another. I mean, I absolutely want to see more Amy and Audra. The moment where Amy looked into Audra's eyes and said, I see so much sadness in you. Amy just is strumming my pain with her fingers. Amy just knows how to read right into your soul and tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, what you need to hear. Lionel needs that. I would rather see 100 scenes. No, I'd rather see one scene with Amy than 100 kidnappings. Period, period, period. Russell says the scenes with Nate and Amy were wonderful. She continues to be so great, and they have written her great too. I like that she took the time to speak to Nate about his feelings and share her own about Audra. Yeah, I mean, they had a little family going there, and you're right, it's gone, and I almost didn't even know I missed it so much until it was right back in the forefront again. Oh, here we go. Gary says, Dominic, Chancellor, Winters, Newman, Abbott, Summers, Copeland returns as a 35-year-old in an all-new story to shake up Devon and off-contract Abby, which will include Christine Romalotti, required to slip back into her legal eagle hat once again. Who predicted this story in Allie's end-of-the-year predictions for 2026? Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. Do you remember when, Dominic had a bunch of names? That poor kid. Was this the first time we've seen Dom aged up? I feel like the last time we saw him, maybe he was like a baby. No. Was Dom a little baby last time we saw him? And yet the little actor looked familiar in some way, so I'm not sure. But I loved the outdoor park sequences. Those were really nice and really beautiful. That outdoor Chancellor Park Cafe area is underused and perfect for winter. Gary also says, Mariah kidnapped Dominic. Why? Where is this obsession coming from? And so fast. I've answered my own earlier curiosity that Mariah would try to win a custody of Dominic via Christine. This seals her fate. A kidnapping involving Abby and that Devon would have to be short-term unless it spirals somewhere else involving them. It's a twist that Mariah moves out of pining for Tessa to become obsessed with Dominic. A completely different state of affairs. At the time of Dominic's birth, Mariah resisted going over the edge, but now that she's psycho, she's pulling out all the crazy stops. It is unwise to write a story off before it's begun, but this is such a wacky turnoff. Oh, yes. And Sherrod says it very succinctly here, just saying, this storyline is 3 years too late. Yes. In fact, 4 years too late, because I looked it up. Dom was born in August of 2021. So let's just give it the rest of 2021 and say 2022. Well, 2022 to 2026 is 4 years. 4 years too late. By the way, Abby's white winter shorty fur coat. Ugh, so impractical. But I loved it. I mean, I honestly think probably the best thing about this whole kidnapping thing was Abby's white fur coat. Victoria says the kidnapping makes no sense. The viewers only found out today that Mariah's been thinking of Dominic. If Mariah was fixated on him, she would have been calling him Bowie, not Dominic. I've complained about the writers before, but it bears repeating. Please learn to write some only plot line, other plot lines than kidnappings. We started with Matt this year, now a little boy. Please write a story with a steamy affair or a pregnancy with an unknown paternity. Enough with the kidnappings, please. I mean, honestly, how many kidnappings have we had this year alone? Matt just kidnapped Sienna. And then Matt got kidnapped, kinda. Martin kidnapped Sharon and Phyllis. Who else? It does seem like a lot. And I think that's a good poll question for you guys for the week. Y&R kidnappings. Love it? Or are you over it? yrchat.com. Let's put a poll on this and find out if we are over these kidnappings. Here's something good from Naomi. Naomi says, Tessa lights up my viewing experience. She has a beautiful smile and a lightness when she looks at someone she cares for. Yes, this week Tessa and Daniel definitely took it to the next level because they basically said, well, yes, we like each other, and yes, we like having sex with each other, but we there's more there. Sex, but also more. Oh, Sharad says, in response to Where's Mariah, Cameron Grimes asked for some time off to be with her child and then to plan her wedding. She married Brock Powell in New Orleans back on November 8th of 2025, but she's now back on set filming. Her real-life bestie, Haley Aaron, attended the wedding. The two of them have been friends since 2017, and they gave a very insightful interview about their friendship to Soap Opera Digest back in August 2018. It was a simple but beautiful wedding. Okay, so maybe Y&R just went, okay, there's just been too much time on the Pillow Man murder. We need to integrate Cameron Grimes back onto the show. She's back, and we're just gonna like build something totally new. So maybe that's it. Maybe if indeed Cameron is back on set, like full-time filming, then maybe this will actually go somewhere. And hey, I can't complain about seeing Abby anymore, more often. I mean, if the white winter fur coat is any indication of where this storyline is going to go, then I guess I have to find a way to be fine with it. Kidnapping, thumbs down, but Abby future fashion, thumbs way up. So I have found my way over to TikTok. Which is kind of crazy, but I find it interesting. I like the idea of the live chats. So I pulled up TikTok on my iPad and I said, well, let's just see if there's any Y&R fans on here. And sure enough, it doesn't take very long before you start to unearth some Y&R fans. So I've been hosting a couple of live chats this week. I don't know if any of you guys are on TikTok, but if you are, find me. The username is YRChat, of course. And then I think you can hit follow, and then there's like a little bell. And I think if you hit that, it'll tell you when I'm doing a live chat. But that's basically like the videos on me, and then I'm reading the chat and responding to comments live, which is kind of fun and kind of exciting. So if any of you guys are on TikTok, please feel free to find me. It's funny because talking to fans live, it's clear, it's different from Y&R chat, and I'll tell you why. You guys want to talk about the current show. We're all watching the show and talking about the developments of the week. But TikTok, strangely enough, really mostly only wants to talk about old storylines. It seems like people, when it's like, let's talk soaps, what people want to talk about is the old stuff. They want to talk about the classic stuff, the good stuff, the thing that hooked them. But a lot of people, I think of soaps back, in the 80s, 90s, even in the 2000s were kind of the heyday. Everything maybe pre 9/11 was really heyday of Y&R. And people really love hitting all those points. I've found some deep fans with some deep knowledge. And one of the interesting things is the topic that people always bring up over and over again, and this isn't just on TikTok. I've noticed this over 20 years of doing Y&R Chat. The thing people mention most consistently is Drusilla. Drusilla Winters. Not just the character, but also her death. The is she really dead of it all? The will she ever come back of it all? The predictions that she is coming back. And I found that very, very interesting. So this week I decided to make a Y&R Chat special video talking about Drusilla and all of those topics. It's only 15 minutes long. It's right here on the YouTube channel, and I will link to it down in the comments. I'll pin a comment with it, and I'll link to it after the video, because if you're interested at all in my perspective on Drusilla after all of these years, that might be something you can watch while you're snowed in. And I do have plans to make some more special Y&R chats on some various topics. I'm thinking about maybe doing a little something on Sharon. There's a little Sharon overview. Although, Jamie, I was also thinking that the whole Marco situation would make a really good, like, in-depth, researchy Y&R classic kind of video topic. So, if you're interested in those, or if you have any topic ideas, leave them in the comment and let me know. And if you are ever in the mood for a classic, well-built, Bill Bell style soap that is new and fresh and written by me, the Fauna and the Flora is waiting for you. You can read it, or you can listen to me narrate the audiobook, and it's available everywhere, including restlessforest.com. But now, of course, there's always yrchat.com, where there are photos, polls, lots of conversation going on. The Who Said It quote game. If you would like to go there, leave some comments, check out the Y&R goodies, please feel free. Or just come on back next week and we will keep chatting about the week of shows. I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next Sunday. Love ya. Bye.